Hey kiddos, this is Belcher here, missing you guys. Got my coffee like I usually do, ready to start these videos for this week. So I hope you guys enjoyed the videos from last week. I thought we covered some pretty good topics and some practice strategies. And today, before we get into our 3 videos that go with our book we'll be working on this week, um, I want to do another practice and reminder bit like I did last week, where we focus on using our brain, our ears, and our eyes to help us when we read. So I'm going to make myself little and go right up in the corner. Yoink. And here we are again with how can I help myself read? Now, you might be thinking, this stuff is really easy. Why are you giving us this stuff? Because if you want to learn how to do something or practice something, it's better to practice on something easy first. So that's what we're going to do. So how can I help myself read? And here again are our steps, right? Look at the pictures. The pictures can give us clues, and we're going to see that again today. Get your mouth ready. Remember, we find that first part, go back, read it again, and when we get there, we make that first sound or that first blend with our mouth. We get our mouth ready. Find a chunk you know, right? Looking for little bits. Last week we worked with the chunks AR and UR, right? R and well, UR, ER, and IR, all 3 of those, all made the sound, and that was a chunk we were able to work with and find. Go back and read it again. Give it another shot. Think about the story. Check the pictures. Get your mouth ready. Look for bits you know. Go back and read it again. Give it another try. And then think, does it make sense? And remember, it's not just does it make sense to our brain, it also has to make sense to the story, right? If you remember the story we looked at last week on this computer here about fun at the, remember they were at the beach. If we are reading along and we read something that like, I am going to play in the snow, well, that makes sense. You can say I am going to play in the snow, but did that make sense with our beach story? There wasn't any snow. So even though it made sense to our brain and sounded right to our ears, snow and sand start the same, don't they? So they look a little bit alike. But does it make sense to the story? We're at the beach. No, it doesn't. So it's not just making sense up here to our brain, it has to fit the story too. So today we're going to do camping trip. All right, so let's think, if you've ever been on a camping trip or know anything about camping. Woo, jumped ahead of me there. I'm going to jump back and let's take a look at the pictures here. Here's a little boy and he's crawling into this thing. Do you know what that thing is called? That's a tent. So that might be a word that we're going to see, right? And look at these people here. What are they doing? They're sitting around a fire, around a campfire. Maybe they're telling stories. Maybe they're getting ready to roast marshmallows or roast hot dogs, right? So we might read something about sitting around a fire or spending time around the fire in our story as well. And look up here. Here is the name, here's the title of our story, Camping Trip. And if we look, there's the part that says camp, and then right here, look at this. Here's the part that says ing. And in last week's book about Daisy going on the airplane, Daisy's airplane, look, trip, camping trip. So those might be some words that we're going to see as well while we read. So let's try to read. Okay, this is pretty easy. I like to go blank. And remember, the blank is a tricky word that we're pretending we don't know yet. So I like to go, what do you think? Let's check the first part. Ready? Gotta get our mouth ready. All right, so we got a k at the beginning. Let's think about the story. Think about what's gonna make sense, and we go back and read it again. I like to go camping. And there's our ing part. Do you see it? Gotta look. That's a part that you know. That's a part you can find. Camping. Now that we figured it out, let's go back and read it. I like to go camping. All right, so let's check our three things. Does this make sense to our brain? I like to go camping? Yeah. Does it make sense to the story? I like to go camping. It certainly does. So our brain gets a check. All right, what about our eyes? Not our eyes, our ears come next. What about our ears? Does it sound okay? I like to go camping. Yeah, it sounds good. So our ears get a check. Now our eyes. All right, so let's check it with our eyes. Ready? Camping. Camping. Does it match with our eyes? It certainly does. So our eyes get a check too. So all three things got a check. Let's go on to the next page. All right. We will build a blank. Now, this maybe we will build a tent. That makes sense. We will build a fire. We will build a shelter, maybe. We will build a stove. Any other ideas? Let's check that first letter. Ready? Let's check the first part. Oh, ready? Let's read it again and get our mouth ready. And think about what's going to make sense. We will build a f. What do you think? Let's check it, okay? Oh, fear. We will build a fear. Does that make sense? Nope. Let's try again. Oh, look, IR. I remember last week IR said Let's try that. F-er. We will build a fur. Does that make sense? We better try something else. So I've tried the I sound. I found a part that I thought I knew, but didn't make any sense. So what other sound can I make? It can say I, or it can say its name. It can say I. So let's try that. We will build a fire. Fire. Wait. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? Right here, we already looked. They built a fire. Let's go back and read it again. All right, does it make sense to our brain and to the story? We will build a fire. Yeah, we already talked about that, something we saw in the picture. That helped us. All right, let's check our ears. We will build a fire. Sounds good to me. Now let's check our eyes, and we've already done a lot of checking with our eyes because I had to try different sounds till I found the word that worked. Fire. Fire. Do you hear that E on the end? I don't. It's silent. They usually are. All right, let's keep going. We can sleep in a blank. Let's think about what it could be. It could be tent. It could be sleeping bag, maybe. Shelter. Any other ideas about what we could sleep in? A camper? Maybe a camper. Let's check the first part. Ready? Here we go. Oh, I think I know what it is. We can sleep in a tree. All right, there we go. We can sleep in a tree. Let's check it. Ready? We can sleep in a tree. Does that make sense? I don't know. I guess you could sleep in a tree, right? Let's see if it sounds okay. We can sleep in a tree. Yeah, maybe there's a tree house. All right, now we got to check with our eyes, right? All right, I'm ready. Tree. Wait a minute. Well, that didn't match. Did you see that? It didn't match with our eyes. Our eyes get an X. Wah, wah, wah. Got to try again, don't we? So let's take another look at it. Let's think about what can make sense and let's try it. ant, tent. Oh, tent. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? We can sleep in a tent. Do you see how that word is tent and not tree? Yeah, gotta always be checking, don't we? All right. Ooh, this was a long one. Let me read it to you. I'm not scared of the blank. Are you? What do you think? Maybe bears? I'm not scared of the bears. I'm not scared of the ghosts. I'm not scared of the dark. What are you thinking? Let's check the first part. Ready? D. Ooh. Dinosaurs? Does that make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. There aren't any dinosaurs anymore, except Tyrannosaurus Rex. Oh, on this side, there he is in his pajamas, ready for our story time video. All right, we got to check the rest of it. Ready? D. Oh, look, 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 look. AR says R. I remember that from last week. D. Ark. Let's go back and try it in our story and see if it makes sense and sounds right and looks right. Here we go. I'm not scared of the dark. Are you? I'm not scared of the dark. Are you? Does that make sense to our brain? And to the story? If you're out camping at night, you're going to spend the night, aren't you? In a tent or a camper or something. Look, and they've built a fire. So it's nighttime and so it's dark. So it makes sense to the story too, doesn't it? Our brain gets a check. Now, what about our ears? How does it sound? Listen to me read it. I'm not scared of the dark. Are you? It sounds good to my ears too. So our ears get a check. Now let's check with our eyes again. Dark. There's that AR part that we worked on last week. Dark. I'm not scared of the dark. Are you? So our eyes get a check as well. So next week, we'll do another one of these just to remind ourselves and to let ourselves practice the 3 things we've got to always be thinking about: our brain, our ears, and our eyes. I'll see you guys in video number 1 for the week.